Okay, so let us move to the most important part of quantitative analysis approach, which is on how to develop a quantitative analysis model. So let us look on this simple mathematical model of profit. So when we compute a profit, then we make use of this formula. Profit is equal to revenue minus expenses. The revenue is what we call the sale of the organization. And when we subtract the expenses, then the remaining result is the profit. So expenses can be represented as the sum of fixed and variable costs. Okay, so these are what we call expenses. And sometimes variable costs are the product of units cost times the number of units sold. Okay, so therefore our profit now will be equal to selling price times fixed cost, and number of units rather, minus fixed cost minus variable cost times the number of units sold. So this is our mathematical model for profit. So and then the parameters, these are the parameters, no? The selling price, fixed cost, and the variable cost per unit. And the decision variable is what the X, or the number of units sold, because the organization would decide how many numbers of units to be produced and sold in the organization. So example, if the company buys, sells, and repairs old clocks, rebuild springs sell for 100 pesos per unit. Fixed cost of equipment to be built springs is 10,000. The variable cost for spring material is 50 pesos per unit. So if these are the given now from the problem, and this is the profit model. So if the sale is 0, the profit is negative 10,000. So how do we arrive negative 10,000? So just substitute it here, the given. So S is 100, X is 0, less 10,000, less 50 times 0. So the result is negative 10,000. But if the sale is 1,000, then the profit would be 40,000. Okay. So break-even analysis model, companies are often interested in the break-even point. Okay, so the break-even point is the number of units sold that will result to 0 profit. So if the profit is 0, then we try to manipulate the equation. Then we have now X as the break-even point will be equal to fixed cost divided by selling price per unit minus variable cost. So for example, we try to compute the break-even point, okay, of the problem. So fixed cost is 10,000 divided by selling price per unit, which is 100, minus the variable cost, which is 50. So therefore, the break-even point is 200 units. So in other words, if the sale is 200 units, then the result is 0 profit. But if the sale is less than 200 units of rebuild spring, then it will result to loss. Greater than 200 units of producing and selling rebuild springs would result to profit. Okay, it will result to profit. But if the units sold is 200, then the profit is 0, because that's the break even point.